This is a good one. So I propose to add a new item to the Elizabeth shop here called the item anchor. So basically, to put it shortly, it's locked slots from SBA, but just in the game. So if you were to add an item lock to, for example, this titanium drill DRX655, which is worth like 1 billion coins, this is not something I'd want to lose. So I put the item anchor on it, and what that does is it makes it so I can't drop it on the floor. If it's an item that can be salvaged, that makes it unsalvageable. Let's say I glitch it out of my inventory by filling my inventory with items and then throwing it. It should go into the stash. Items with an item anchor should be undeletable. There's no way to remove them, no way to void it whatsoever, so that people can stop worrying about accidentally salvaging their Necron blades or their ice spray wands. Or maybe somebody gets ratted and then the ratter is frustrated that they can't steal your items because it's soulbound, so they chuck it in the void. I had a weird tuba disappear from my hotbar once just because I was pressing a weird combination of buttons while scroll wheeling, and then it just permanently disappeared from my inventory. So yeah, adding an item anchor would be really nice. All dungeon chest rewards, armor and weapons, ice spray, all rare dungeon drops should not be salvageable. There is no situation where you would ever want to salvage a livid dagger or a, I don't know, a wither cloak sword. You're never gonna want to salvage an ice spray. You're never gonna want to salvage a Necron blade. So why can you? That's just bad. Why is there even the ability to do that? Speaking of, if you do accidentally void an item, I think there should be a 30-day recycle bin section at Jerry. So again, let's say you didn't use an item anchor, but you accidentally chucked your titanium drill on the floor. It's not the first time it's happened. I've seen it happen with things like a Hyperion that dropped on the floor. So I think if an item despawns, it should not be deleted from the game. It should be sent to Jerry, and there'd be a recycle bin section somewhere in the deliveries, maybe. I don't know. There's been a lot of features added recently to the experimentation table. I love it, but we still need an RNG meter, let's be honest. RNG meter for experimentation table, when? Because, like, honestly, it just needs to happen. I don't know what else to say. Here's one that's entirely cosmetic, which is something I usually don't do. I'm a very practical kind of guy, but the same noise for every RNG drop in the game? Come on, Hypixel. I mean, like, if I drop an ice spray versus dropping a carrot, it's the same sound. Like, if I were to put my noise sound all the way up, it's that same noise, which is not a bad noise. I like the noise, but there should be, like, I don't know, a dozen of them. Maybe have that be the rare drop, because there's already a distinction, right? There's rare drops, there's RNGesus drops. If you can recall with the dicers in farming, this is where I got the idea from, by the way. So if I were to farm, say, pumpkins. Yeah, let's say I'm farming pumpkins. There's different RNG noises depending on how rare the thing was. If I do this, well, the dicer's refusing to do it, but you know what I mean. It makes sounds. There are specific RNG sounds that happen with the dicers. I think regular item drops need the same treatment. Again, it's going to be nice for the fish brains, the people that are just getting into the game. It's going to make things prettier. So yeah, I think there should be a variety of RNG sounds depending on how rare the thing was that just happened. In my opinion, the medium dragon sack and the small dragon sack should have their items swapped, because if you think about it, right, dragon claws are only accessible if you use summoning eyes. This is from the perspective of an Iron Man player. I understand that the claws are technically cheaper than a summoning eye, but I think for continuity's sake, it would just make more sense to start with summoning eye for the small sack, and then for medium to use the claws. I think there needs to be more purpose for chum in this game. At the moment, there's not really a whole lot that you can use it for other than tonics, which there was a rumor going around it was added to God Potion. I don't even know. But like, once you have the talisman and get tonics, there's no use for chum in the game. And you'll notice that nobody does it. Nobody puts down a chum bucket. Nobody. So here's what I think we should do. We should add to the game a large chum bucket that instead of only like 4 chum, it'll hold like, I don't know, 64, so that you can place one down and not have to replace it constantly. And then you could have a filled large chum bucket and then have some crafting recipes with that, and maybe craft them together, maybe upgrade the talisman, maybe make some better fishing equipment upgrades, maybe craft some enchantments for the fishing equipment. I think there needs to just be more content added with chum. Like, I personally don't mind putting a bucket down next to me while I fish. I just don't want to have to do it every 30 seconds, you know what I mean? So, like, let's just do that. Make it so there's a larger capacity chum-based item, and then just have a bunch of stuff that's fishing related that you can craft with it. I think enchantments for the fishing equipment's a really good idea. As of now, you're looking at the best setup to farm red sand and mycelium. It sucks. I'm using a flint shovel. You could use any shovel with a snail pet with, I believe, maximum speed. Let me check real quick. Not quite, almost maximum speed. But my point is, this is terrible. The snail pet, as far as I know, only procs the ability once every now and again, and it's not a consistent farming or mining fortune buff on, you know, non-ore blocks. I think this whole system needs a revamp. First of all, where's the custom shovel? We need a shovel that has block spread on it. Like, we need a shovel that, like, maybe there's 3 or 4 upgrades to it and it breaks 1 more block per upgrade. So instead of breaking 1 at a time with red sand, I can break like 5 blocks at a time. I don't know, man. This whole system is freaking terrible. Maybe have it also give fortune on non-ore blocks. Fix the bug with the snail pet so it actually procs every single time. There's power stones in the game that gives enough speed for maximum snail. It is a decent meta, I think. It just needs more content. Like, I'm not going to be able to realistically get 1,000 Infernal Kuja keys, which is what's required on Iron Man to max the game, technically. It's going to take, like, weeks of doing this to get that much, and it's just so boring and terrible. Like, we need block spread, we need more mining fortune on non-ore blocks, and the same goes with, honestly, not just red sand and mycelium, but flint. It's basically impossible, by the way, to get all fly swatters on an Iron Man profile. It's just not going to happen. Or fly catchers, I should say. You're not even going to get one, realistically, unless you're a psychopath. Like, just getting a T11 tarantula minion would probably take, like, 12 hours of flint mining. Like, that should not be a thing. That's really stupid. So, I don't know. We need more block spread, more fortune. Maybe all we need is the shovel and fixing the snail pet, but maybe more content in general. I don't know. Maybe an armor set specifically for it. Who knows? As someone who's maxed out the Anita shop, there's not a whole lot of value for me left in farming contests other than selling the leftover tickets, which is not great, by the way. It's 10,000 a ticket. I had 100 contests saved up since hitting farming 60. I redeemed them all at once and only made like 20 mil. So I don't know, maybe NPC price for tickets probably should increase. But also on top of that, we should have a conversion in the metal trades here. Maybe be able to redeem, like, I don't know, turbo books for metals or for tickets even. Not even metals, I would say tickets. That would be really nice. Let's say I have, like, I don't know, I already threw them all out, but I literally had 3 pages of the ender chest of just turbo books. It would have been nice if I could redeem them for tickets or even sell them. I need a purpose. I need something to do with all the excess items, Hypixel. This one I don't feel that strongly about, but it also would be kind of nice. We should have an equipment set that's like made for leveling pets. So maybe there's a lot of extra drops that come with the mythological festival, which is actually happening right now. So maybe add an equipment set that in the recipe has antique remedies, shelmets, plushies, I don't know. Should have a 4-piece equipment set that just gives you more pet XP or pet fortune or both. That would be nice. Then people would use it for grinding, I don't know, dragon pets, phoenix pets. Maybe make it require feathers, enchanted claws. I know those are items that I have no use for anymore now that I have everything maxed and I have everything prepped for Terminator right here. So adding more purpose to those items would be nice, and it would make the mythological festival just a little bit more relevant. Ooh, I'm really proud of this one. We should have, maybe as a bit shop item, the minion forklift. So its left click ability would either, if you're not shifting, take all the upgrades from a minion and then store it in the actual forklift itself. So for example, the loadout I have is Plasma Bucket Minion Expander, Super Compactor. So I left click with the forklift, it takes all those items, and then I left click again on a minion with no upgrades in it, and then it will place the upgrades in the new minion. That would be cool. Oh, and then you could shift left click to take the items and put them directly in your inventory, because with sticky menus, it's very annoying clicking around. Look at it. Please slow down. I hate that. Just let me take everything out quickly. So shift left click to take it and put it in your inventory directly. That'd be cool. Right click ability would not only take the items, but it would also pick up the minion. So right clicking with the minion forklift would take the minion, pick it up, and then you right click again and you could place it in a new location. That would be really nice if you're redoing your island. And then, of course, shift right-clicking to pick up the minion and all its upgrades and put them directly in your inventory instead of storing them in the forklift. So I think that would just be a nice quality of life update. And, you know, it would be nice if there was a place to put all of the excess minion upgrades. Like, I've got all these compactors, minion expanders, tasty cheese, hyper catalysts. I got extra minions. I got, in this chest, all corrupt soils, extra minions. I don't know, maybe a minion sack would be in order. Something like the rune sack where it just stores, like, whatever items you put in it that are, you know, not specific to the sack. I don't know. In general, minions are a pain to work with, especially when subbing them out. Here's one I've said in a video before. I think you should get more XP when running solo dungeons. At the moment, there's not a whole lot of purpose for a solo dungeon other than walking into an M3 to get some tank souls for summons. Maybe frag runs so that you can get Diamantes handles or whatever without needing a frag bot. That's cool and all. But running a full solo dungeon should reward the player with more than just the typical amount of gear. Like, maybe the RNG stays the same, so all the chests or whatever are the same, but I think if you complete a solo dungeon, you should get some sort of bonus for that. Maybe more catacombs experience, because people like me, I don't like the catacombs, alright? I just want to max it and leave. So maybe, honestly, as a trade-off, be able to run a solo dungeon, get extra XP for doing so, and since your runs are going to be slower, since you're one person, you get less loot, technically, right? Let's say you grind catacombs for an hour. If you're doing a solo run every time, it's going to take probably 3 or 4 times as long per run. So that's 3 or 4 times less loot in an hour than if you're on a team. So there is a benefit to playing with the team. But if you just want the XP and then to just leave, I think you should be rewarded for doing a solo dungeon. Like maybe 3 or 4 times the XP. I don't know. Maybe double the XP. I just want a reason to be able to do the catacombs, man. I want to just max that part of the game, but it's so annoying. Oh, speaking of annoying, maybe in the little filters here in Party Finder, there should be a filter. Let me see, a search setting for SkyBlock level. That would be nice, like a minimum SkyBlock level, because that's a pretty decent gauge of how good someone is at the game compared to something like Playtime or even Cata XP. Well, I would say Cata XP is probably more important when it comes to catacombs, but still, I think a skyblock level requirement would be nice. And it would also be kind of neat if there was like a way to track your progress, maybe show relative to your team how many secrets you've acquired, how much score you got, and then have like a skill-based matchmaking system so all the nons are put together and all the people that actually want to progress in dungeons can be paired together more easily, so a lot less annoyance. But yeah, I think a skill-based matchmaking system would be cool, and I also think, you know, just make it so you can filter the catacombs by skyblock level. That'd be nice. These last 10 suggestions for the game, I'm gonna be honest, they're out there. These are weird. These are things that, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if none of them were added to the game. They're quite out there, but I do like them quite a bit. Let's start off with the first one. The Swiss Army hoe. You insert farming tools into this device. So it'd be some kind of an item. It'd probably be a hoe. You right click on it and there'd be 10 slots in it, one for each farming tool in the game. You might notice I'm dedicating 10 whole slots in my ender chest just to farming tools, which kind of sucks, I'm not gonna lie. So it'd be kind of cool if the Swiss Army hoe, so like a Swiss Army knife, I guess, would just contain all of these items. And then I guess if you're breaking, for example, melons or pumpkins, that it would change to an axe with efficiency 5 on it, or I don't know. I mean, all the rest of them are hoes, so that's fine. I think it'd be really neat to have just one farming tool for everything, and it would just swap to the appropriate tool when you break that crop. So let's say I break a piece of sugarcane, the Swiss Army hoe would switch to sugarcane mode, and it would just use the sugarcane hoe that I put in it. So it would inherit all the stats. So it would still work with cultivating, dedication, harvesting. All the enchantments would still apply depending on which tool you put in the inventory. I think that would be quite nice. It would be a big QOL thing so that you don't have to waste all this ender chest space. You just have an all-in-one farming item. I said this in a video before. I love the update they did where they made all the crop upgrades cheaper and then refunded the extra copper back to the players. That was a great change, massive W. I think they need to do the same thing for the composter, because if you look into the wiki and see how expensive these upgrades are, it's a lot. So I think they should massively reduce the amount of crops and copper required for each composter upgrade and then just refund the players who already bought those upgrades with the difference. That way, people that got 5,000 visitors like myself should be maxed. I think 5,000 visitors should be when you max the game out. That you shouldn't have to keep farming after that. So, I mean, if you think about it, right, it maxes out the Lotus equipment, right? So 5,000 visitors maxes out Lotus equipment. By then, you should have all the crops required on Iron Man to max out composter, max out crop upgrades, max out Anita shop, and I dare say, also, you'd max out visitors served. This, I believe, goes to 10,000. I think it should be clawed back to 5,000. Also, why is it still tracking unique visitors when I'm literally maxed and need 2 more and there aren't 2 more? So add 2 more visitors, I guess, and then have that be maxed. I don't know. I already talked about this, crop milestones. I think these should be massively reduced as well. I think 150 million is more than enough for Carrot. The only one of these I have maxed is Kane, because I literally got a space helmet. So, like, as of right now, they want you to basically get 10 space helmets worth of crops to max out milestones, which is absolutely freaking ridiculous. I think, I don't know, 100 million coins worth of crop for each one should be the max, in my opinion. Now, all of that is one suggestion, by the way. Oh, I actually talked about this earlier in the video, but I'm gonna say it again. Police station. There should be a building in the hub called the police station, which is basically Atlas in SkyBlock. And for those that don't know what Atlas is, it's a system where you basically just log in. You get to view anonymously a game of, say, Bed Wars or, I don't know, Sky Wars, and you get to check if a player's cheating or not. So you'd be able to see all the context, you'd see the game, you'd see how they're acting, and then you could make a judgment. Yes, they're cheating. No, they're not. So let's say Watchdog detects some sus activity on the garden. Let's say somebody has been pressing the same 2 buttons for 17 hours without changing anything whatsoever. To reduce the amount of macros and cheaters, maybe they're doing the same thing. Maybe they're using, I don't know, some software to forage automatically, because that exists. And you could check and see if they have especially robotic behavior. There'd be some indicators like, hey, these movements are degree for degree exactly the same per cycle. So it's the same angle, the same degree, moving from one thing to another. Or maybe there's like a very, very small difference in the angle between hits. You should have all the context of a player's profile without knowing who it is. So you'd be able to browse their SkyBlock level, their distribution of SkyBlock level, their skill average. If you see somebody with, for example, a titanium drill DRX655 and they bought it for like $1 billion using coins that they got, I don't know, farming for 36 hours straight, that's going to look pretty sus. And then you can make a judgment. Hey, this player's cheating. Hey, this player's not cheating. And, you know, pool together the opinion of, say, 50 players. And then person gets either banned or not banned. I think you should get rewarded for that. Maybe the police badge would be a talisman. And yeah, so I think as a community, we could come together to defeat the cheater problem, right? We come together, and the opinion of like 50 or so players, maybe have a SkyBlock level limit so that someone who just logged in, who doesn't know anything about the game, can't, you know, be the jury for someone getting banned that has 10,000 hours. So maybe have a SkyBlock level minimum of like, I don't know, 300 to enter this police station and to participate in Atlas and SkyBlock. I think that would be an excellent system. Maybe 300 is too harsh. Maybe like 280, something along those lines. If you're a SkyBlock level 280, you can be trusted with your opinion on cheating in this game, especially if there's like 50 of you ultimately leading to the decision to ban or not. So, I don't know. I think a police station building would be sick. Here's another controversial one. Well, all of them are. I think booster cookies should be made soulbound after they've been purchased once. So, what do I mean by that? Well, oh, nice. I just got throttle kicked. Hey, you know, while we're doing suggestions, make it so you can always warp back in after that happens. That, I got lucky that time, but most of the time it's, oh, can't warp you back in. You've tried it too fast. It's really annoying, but that's not part of the video. Yeah, so let's say you purchase a booster cookie with bits, right? And then you sell it in Bazaar. Whoever buys that booster cookie, it should become soulbound for them, because there's a problem right now where booster cookies are just, they're increasing faster than inflation. 9 million coins for a booster cookie. They were like literally 11 mil when this whole raffle thing started. But like, dude, it's increasing faster than inflation. So the problem is people are hoarding booster cookies because it's basically like the equivalent of bonds in the real world with investing. So what people do is they market manipulate, they buy and hold booster cookies. And what that does is it hurts the average player because it increases prices. So if you make a cookie soulbound after it's been sold once, that means you're only going to buy a booster cookie if you actually want to consume it and use it and get bits, which I think is way healthier for the network. This is already a thing apparently in RuneScape. There's like these banknotes or whatever that once you've sold it once, they can't be sold again unless you do something to it. I don't know. I'm not a RuneScape player, but this is a thing already that's been done in MMOs. I'm not crazy. It's a good idea. Implement it, please. Speaking of inflation, to slightly reduce the amount of inflation, I think it'd be kind of funny if there was an NPC in the hub, maybe like over here, who like owes money to like Sirius and the mob, and they really need that money quick, right? And you can give them a loan so they can pay back the other loan, and then he will pay you back with interest. But instead of giving you coins, that interest is in the form of some special item he can only give you. So this would incentivize people to store their coins away at an NPC. Maybe to max out the system, you'd have to give the guy 1 billion coins for a month or whatever, right? You'd have to keep your coins in this NPC for an extended period of time. So what that's going to do is when you multiply that by like 1 million players, that's a lot of coins that are taken out of the economy almost permanently, because it's going to be a revolving door of people who loan coins to this guy, get some item back, loan more coins to the guy, get items back. So I don't know, might be a nice way to reduce inflation. And you don't lose the coins, which I think is kind of nice. It just time locks things. So I'm sure you guys are aware that in the Rift, there is a boat, right? They want to use the boat to escape the Rift, the Gill Man. Now, I have a really cool idea for a way to end this quest. So, as you can see, I've already beaten this. Thanks for delivering all the boat components. We will escape the Rift. In the meantime, I can make a boat for you, whatever. That's the end of the quest. This is where it ends. What if you can use the boat? Actually, where is the boat? Is this the boat? Maybe the boat did leave. I don't know. But I think the end of this quest is that you can use the Rift boat to go to a new island in SkyBlock. So let's say they accomplish their goal. They escape the Rift with their boat. Maybe it appears in the hub somewhere, and then it allows you to go to an ocean island. So there'd be like a pirate island. So a literal island in an ocean that is floating in the sky. So I think it'd be really cool if there was like a pirate ship, pirates island system. I guess you can call it the fishing island. So there'd be spear fishing for early game players that want to get some quick XP. There'd be a trench. And then that is where the abyss can go. The abyss can finally be real. It could be a biome on the pirate island because it's in a trench, which you got to the island by completing the boat quest in the Rift. I think it just would fit so perfectly into SkyBlock. It's such an obvious... To me, this makes all the sense. And then there'd be new sea creatures, there'd be new weapons, there'd be tridents, there'd be spears that you can throw underwater, maybe a net that you can catch certain sea creatures with, and it would just make fishing in general a lot more interesting, because there'd be more ways to fish than just right-clicking a bobber. So I think that'd be super cool. And then maybe there'd be a quest with the Viking, where you can bring the Viking from the park to this new place. I don't know. His arc is kind of sad. He's just depressed. I last saw the sea 13 years ago. See, I think it'd be cool to give him a way to go back to the sea. In the lore of SkyBlock, there's already an ocean. It just makes all the sense. Okay, this one's quick, but also makes a lot of sense. This is actually perfect because Mythological Festival is happening right now. Just add beacons already. You see what I have going on right now? This is Supimod in BLC, right? It leaves its best guess and then puts a beacon there for where the burrow is. Honestly, this is the most fun I've ever had with this system, was just having beacons, because it made me get from burrow to burrow really quickly, get straight to killing the mobs. I actually find it fun. Before, like, literally like 80% of my playtime during this was just finding the stupid beacons, and I hated it. So just add beacons directly server side to the game. Just tell the players where the thing is already. Like, come on, man. Just add the beacons so we don't need mods to do it, because it's not even against the rules to do this, but it's just, this system is actually fun when the beacons are in the game. So I'd suggest just straight up adding it. All right, this is one of those out there changes that I really don't care one way or the other about, if I'm going to be 100% honest, but it might help server performance because I know things about coding. So here's a little bit of developer advice to Hypixel. So let's say that I am farming sugarcane, right? The way it currently works in SkyBlock is, as you can see, my personal compactor is taking all the sugarcane I'm dropping and turning it into enchanted sugar. Now, this is fine, but if you think about it, there are currently 60,000 players online in SkyBlock right now, and it's safe to say probably half of them are doing some process that involves the personal compactor constantly going like this, whether it be mining, farming, slayers, I don't know. So as a lag reduction measure, because here's the thing, you're creating new item stacks and destroying them constantly. So as a lag reduction measure, I think it would be kind of cool if there was a setting in the personal compactor, somewhere over here maybe, and it would say swap out your drops for the enchanted version. So let's say you're mining or farming. It would replace whatever your farming fortune is, right? I have right now 849 farming fortune because my armor's wrong or whatever. My equipment's not right. 849 farming fortune. So instead of the typical chance to get a regular crop, there'd be a setting in the personal compactor to give you that chance multiplied by 160 to drop an enchanted item. So the actual amount of drops you get remains the exact same overall, right? So it would just be whatever my farming fortune chance is, whatever the chance to get a crop is, multiplied by 160. So 1/160th of the time, I would get the enchanted version of the crop. So again, my drop rates are exactly the same, but the benefit is that Hypixel is not generating item stacks so freaking constantly, so quickly. And as an added bonus, there's sacks, for example, for enchanted sugar. So you're not even creating an item stack. You're just adding one to an integer. So it would save a lot of server performance, I think, when multiplied to like 60,000 players or 30,000 players. So having a setting to do that, and maybe to incentivize people to actually use the feature, maybe give a 1% boost to their drops. So instead of it being the exact same chance, just with more rare drops that are more valuable, make it so that it's like 1% more efficient. So that way, everybody would switch over to that system. Everybody would be generating the enchanted version of a crop or mining drop or whatever it is. Obviously, I don't think this should be the case with every drop, especially not RNG drops. But, you know, if it's something you're getting every single kill, like, for example, Sven's with wood, or, I don't know, rotten flesh from zombies, that sort of thing, I think it would make a lot of sense from a server perspective just to save that performance there. Oh, I'm actually on the garden right now, which is perfect for this next one. I think once you have all plots unlocked, which is not easy to do, by the way, that's a lot of compost. As you can see, I've done it. Once you have all of the plots unlocked, you effectively run out of reasons to spend compost on Iron Man profiles. There's no reason to use the composter, yet I'm expected to max it out for 2 levels of SkyBlock XP. So I think there should be some change made that makes use of this compost after you've maxed the plot plot stuff. So one of the ways, maybe make it so that visitors ask for less crops, more compost. Maybe make it so that you can sell compost for a good NPC sell price. So you'd be incentivized, instead of selling crops, to put them in the composter, make compost, and then sell the compost, because you'll make more money that way per hour or whatever. I think that would be kind of cool. It'd add a passive money-making method to the game. And finally, I think it would also make sense if it was introduced into the last suggestion of the video. Finally, we made it to 50. The recording's an hour and 7 minutes long. Good luck, Fezzy. Anyways, suggestion number 50. Split the farming skill into agronomy and husbandry. They already did it for the sacks. They should do it for the skill as well. Everything that we know of as farming right now should be a skill called agronomy, and there should be another skill after it called husbandry, because I'm sure you've noticed I have a max garden. The designs aren't ideal, but it is effectively max. I only need 2 rows of 5. These other 10 plots are completely useless, and they're always going to be useless. As a matter of fact, these 4 here are also useless if I just went ahead and made the best farm designs and fit them up here. So I think there should be more purpose to use the garden. I think husbandry should be a skill. So if you were to go to the barn and kill the mobs, you should get husbandry XP. And if you break crops, you should get agronomy XP. Or maybe just rename agronomy to farming and then have husbandry be its own skill. I don't know, something like that. And here's where I think things are really good. I think the husbandry skill overall should be Farmville in SkyBlock. So, for example, you'd be able to make a plot that is a cow milking station. So there'd be cows there. You'd be able to profit, let's say, a special kind, maybe Angus beef instead of just regular beef. And maybe it'd be a really high quality leather. And then if you're making milk, maybe it would be like really high quality milk. Maybe you can make cheese, ice cream, a bunch of these items that you can either give to visitors, which would help with making visitors less awful, or maybe you can reinvest it back into upgrading the actual station. So maybe you'd have a tier 1 cow station, or maybe there'd be a ranch and then there would be a milking station. So 2 different things for cows, right? And then you could upgrade them using cheese, using maybe chickens with a chicken coop. You'd be able to produce farm produced eggs, or like higher quality eggs. And then you can maybe make a bunch of healing items with it, maybe make new equipment, maybe make upgrades for farming gear to give you more farming fortune, or something to that effect. So, you know, we'd have sheep with shearing stations. We'd have, you know, harvesting mutton that might be higher quality mutton. Maybe you can have a purpose for dogs and cats. You can have like a sheep herder dog, or you can have cats that kill mice. Maybe mice would try to infest your agronomy, or not agronomy, your husbandry stations, your farming stations, and you'd need cats to keep the rats away, the pests away. And it would be completely idle. It would be like Clash of Clans or what's it called? Farmville, Heyday. It would be the only skill I know of in the game that's completely passive, but it would give you a reason to log into SkyBlock every day, and it would just be fun, and it wouldn't be a lot of time investment, but it would just be a nice little thing that allows the casual community in SkyBlock, or even the sweats, to have something else to do that's not just clicking the same 2 buttons for 17 hours straight. Oh yeah, of course, pigs. You'd be able to produce bacon, maybe pork rinds. I don't know. I think that would be really neat. Oh, and then finally, these stations would be fueled by agronomy. So you'd still have a reason to farm. So maybe to fill the pig trough, you could put any crop in there. But maybe if it's chickens, you'd have to feed them enchanted seeds. If it's cows, you'd have to feed them wheat or hay. Maybe grass could be like a passive crop. Who knows? But anyways, that is it for this long 30virus video. I'm really proud of it. These are, honestly, SkyBlock would be such a better game if all this was added. If I missed a suggestion that you think should be added, make sure to comment it down below. Use code 30virus in the Hypixel store if you want 5% off of all your purchases. And I guess that's it. So, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.